Hey everyone, Bradley Stalder here, a player profiler, and I'm excited to launch the 2023 inaugural Thursday night tailgate. And we're going to get into this matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs, offer you some start sit decisions, and of course, talk about Travis Kelce. That much and more right after this. And we just got news a couple minutes ago that Travis Kelce is going to be out for this game starting in less than an hour. So make sure that you're moving him out of your lineups and finding a replacement. Now, looking at possible replacements behind Travis Kelce, tight end wise, Noah Gray, a product of Duke, who was a solid prospect, caught everything at Duke, wasn't a spectacular athlete. And then Blake Bell, the trusted veteran, of course, is the number 2. But then elevated from the practice squad, Matt Bushman. So you're probably thinking to yourself, should I start any of these guys? I mean, if you're going to start any of those 3, it's going to be Noah Gray, I think. Noah Gray is a player that I have as my tight end. I think in my rankings, I have him at tight end 22 or so. So back end tight end 2. I know other people are very in on, I've seen on the Twitter sphere, like, oh, Noah Gray is going to be like a top 15 tight end. I'm not that bullish. I'm not that bullish on Noah Gray. I see him as, back end tight end 2. I'd rather replace, like, if you were searching the waiver wire and you needed a spot start, consider Sam Laporta, who's in the same matchup, or Gerald Everett, or Tyler Higbee, or even Taysom Hill as a desperation tight end play. So I would be looking outside of Kansas City. I mean, you can start Noah Gray, but you really should not have sky-high aspirations. This is not an offense that runs through the tight end. This is an offense that runs through Travis Kelce. So let's make sure that we're not getting like too carried away with Noah Gray here to start. Okay, awesome. We're getting some questions in. I love this. And that's the point of this tailgate. We're just going to talk. We're going to talk about what y'all want to talk about in the chat. I know in other shows, like the chat is ignored, but not in this one. This is where we tailgate. You bring your beer, you chat, you ask your start set. We have a great time. So let's talk about players that may show up that you're deciding here whether or not you want to start this one or that one, depending upon this Thursday night. Because look, we've got a couple minutes to be making these decisions, and I'm here until 8 p.m. I've got a half-hour window, and then I've got to finalize rankings on Fantasy Pros. So cheers to all y'all. We're going to get started here in some of the questions. We'll get to as many as we can. Skyy Moore or Tyler Lockett? I think it's still Tyler Lockett, even with JSN back. Look, Lockett's been an absolute beast. JSN has a wrap around his hand. I don't know if y'all saw the film, but JSN has this wrap, and he's catching with his body, right? And that's not what you want. Even if he plays, I'm not expecting a big game from Jackson Smith and Jigba. Tyler Lockett's going to stay on the field. Skyy Moore may or may not be the answer, but we know what the answer is, and it is and has been Tyler Lockett, the trusted player. He crushed last year, showed no signs of slowing down. I am in on Tyler Lockett over Skyy Moore. So if you're deciding one versus the other, yeah, let's get Tyler Lockett. Jelly of the month. Do I like David Montgomery? Yes, I love David Montgomery tonight. The number one reason is because Chris Jones is not expected to play, right? He didn't sign. And so he's been holding out this entire offseason. Chris Jones was the number 1 defensive interior lineman per PFF defensive grade. The next 2 players that are in line to take his spot were 99th and 143rd last year out of 157 defensive interior linemen. So no, I think that David Montgomery is going to have room to run up the middle between the tackles because he's not super fast. He's not going to get like cut outside the tackle and get space, right? And accelerate that way. That's the Jahmyr Gibbs move, right? But Montgomery's going to have room to work in the middle. He's also going to get the goal line work. And in a game that is an over-under of 53, the highest projected over-under on the week as of this point, yeah, we need to be in on David Montgomery getting the bulk of the carries. I would project about 60% or so of the carries. And then a lot of the goal line work, maybe sprinkle in a couple receptions here and there. But David Montgomery, I expect to crush tonight, be a very solid running back 2 with a low-end running back 1 possibility. But I think that's the ceiling for him, given how I also like Jahmyr Gibbs to perform tonight. Okay. Oh, all right. We've got more in the chat. This is great. I'm going to focus on the questions about players who are going to play tonight, and you have to make decisions of. I see Higbee versus Jay Johnson. Those are not players playing tonight, but Dak versus Goff, right? Let me look at my let me look at my rankings, my week 1 rankings. Let's say weekly rankings for quarterbacks. And I'm pretty sure I have Jared Goff as a top 12 option. In fact, I have Goff 1 spot ahead of Dak Prescott this week. As I mentioned, this is an over-under 53. The line really hasn't moved very much with Travis Kelce still being out per DK Sportsbook. So with the over-under being 53, the highest over-under on the week, with Jared Goff being the spike week king, right? Last year, he was top 5 in rate of quarterback finishes in the top 5. So he was hitting the very high spike weeks. We like that. And we also like that he has a history of crushing in Arrowhead Stadium. Do you remember a couple years ago when Jared Goff was on the Rams? And it was the Rams versus the Chiefs, and they got into arguably the best regular season game shootout ever. Like this is a player, Jared Goff, who can go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes in terms of just continuing to run up the score. So I think that this game, as we see in the over-under, projects to be one of the highest scoring, and the line has shifted from Lions plus 4.5 to Lions just plus 4. So it's now shifted, and yet still at an over-under of 53. I really like Jared Goff this week, and I have him 1 spot ahead of Dak Prescott in my rankings. Okay, Mike is asking Skyy Moore over Christian Watson. I would say this. I would say it depends on what else you have behind Christian Watson or Skyy Moore. Like, if there's not much of a drop-off between Skyy Moore and the next player, then you should, keep Christian Watson in the lineup and bench Skyy Moore. Because Watson holds such a higher ceiling than Skyy Moore has shown in both of them were rookies last year, both second-round picks, but Christian Watson flashed top 12 rate of getting the elite ceiling games, and he's got an amazing matchup. So if Watson is ready to go, then fire him up. But if you've got a really weak bench, and Skyy Moore is probably one of the best players that you got, then you have to think about this like logically. If Watson misses, right, then you're picking, you've just missed out on Skyy Moore, and you've lost a significant amount. So it really depends on what the rest of your roster looks like. I could see you picking either one, but I in most leagues, I would still be holding on to Christian Watson and just seeing what happens the rest of the week. He hasn't practiced because of a reported hamstring injury, but the severity of that they may just be precautionary. We haven't gotten much except for Watson hasn't been practicing. So we're nearing that, and I'm excited for you, hopefully, and hopefully for Christian Watson. He's been a guy I've been touting all off season. All right. Cheers, everyone. Make sure that you're subscribing, you're liking, you're giving, sharing with your friends, sharing a beer. Cheers to everybody. Appreciate that. We're having a fun time tailgating before Thursday Night Football. Make sure you guys are putting some in the chat. I've been hitting on some players already. We've talked about Jared Goff. We've talked about Noah Gray and Travis Kelce. We've talked about Skyy Moore already. We talked about David Montgomery. This is great. This is great. Let's go, Harry Snowman in the chat. Let's go. Boom. All right. Yeah. Let's take a look at Daniel in half PPR. Would you start David Montgomery and flex over some risky guys like Judy and Watson? Yeah, I would start David Montgomery. I think that that's probably the safest play especially with Judy and Watson very questionable for this week. I would start David Montgomery. He projects to get, I don't know, how 12, 13 fantasy points. I think that's most leagues. So I'm fine with that. Goal line work, good offensive line for the Detroit Lions, even if it's an inefficient runner. Like, we know who David Montgomery is. He's David Montgomery, who has the occasional streak in him of being a good football player and good fantasy football player. So on an offensive line, or with an offensive line that's one of the best in the league, and against a defensive line that's missing their best player by far, I think that this is a pretty straightforward. You're going to play David Montgomery, and don't put him in your flex. Move him to the running back 2 position or running back 1, whatever. Don't put Thursday night players in your flex. Remember. Okay. Harry Snowman, is Gray going to score a touchdown tonight? Let's go. Have a great night. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something, I'm not moving Noah Gray outside the low tight end or the high tight end 20s, like tight end 20 to 22. That's probably where I'm going to land on him when I finalize it here at about 8:00. But that's, I think, the range that we're looking at. Probably still behind the Gerald Everetts of the world, probably still behind Tyler Conklin. I like Conklin for the season. And Noah Gray, like, as I said, we're not confident that the offense goes through the tight end for Andy Reid. We are confident that the offense goes through Travis Kelce. So you can take your shots. I don't mind if you want to roll the dice on Noah Gray. Fine. I don't mind it. But you also have to understand that this is a very risky proposition because Noah Gray is not an elite athlete. He was decent at Duke. Like, let's talk about some of the things about Noah Gray since we're, on the topic. You can go to playerprofiler.com and type in Noah Gray, and you'll see that, 5th round pick out of Duke, had 300 receiving yards last year and 15% target rate when he was on the field. Yeah, you look through his game log, and there's nothing really that stands out to you. No more than 3 targets in any of the games because Kelce had been healthy. So it required Noah Gray to get a touchdown in the one game where he finished as the top 10 tight end that week. And maybe that's all it takes for Noah Gray is just a touchdown. So could he? Sure, but probably not. That's not what I'm thinking. Although, let's also take a look. The over-under didn't change very much, even though Kelce was ruled out. So Gray might be an intriguing deep pick to roll the dice on, but I'm not saying he's not a must start. Noah Gray is not necessarily a must start. Okay. Yeah. Mike is saying I have nothing behind Watson and Skyy Moore besides Charbonnet. So you're probably going to have to start Skyy Moore is my guess there, Mike. All right. Dustin's asking Pacheco or Kenneth Walker. Let's go Isaiah Pacheco, baby. Right? Yeah, let's go Pacheco. No. What? No. We're going Kenneth Walker here. Well, I know. I almost got caught up in myself, like Pacheco, Kenneth Walker. I'm a Kenneth Walker guy. Let's go Kenny Walker. Even though we get caught up in the hype of Isaiah Pacheco and his speed and how well he rushed on the ground, Isaiah Pacheco did not show pass catching prowess last year. And guess who's active? Both Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, capable pass catchers out of the backfield. Why would the Chiefs use Isaiah Pacheco as a pass catcher when they have 2 capable players to do so? They won't. They just simply won't. So Kenneth Walker, I think, is the play. He's going to get the bulk of the carries. He's also a home run hitter. And Seattle is facing the LA Rams this week. And I'm projecting that Seattle is just going to just wash them, just completely annihilate them, whether it's on the ground or one of my favorite starts this week or prop up the players this week is DK Metcalf because Akello Witherspoon, a player that I highlighted in my Player Profiler week winning stats article that dropped on Player Profiler. You can check that out in the article section. One of my week winning stacks is that Akello Witherspoon gave up on average 18 fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers, 4 touchdowns in 4 games. Like, it was bad. So I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to crush the Rams this week. And Who's going to run the ball in garbage time? Yeah, Kenneth Walker. They'll still run it with Kenneth Walker. Maybe sprinkling some Charbonnet, but Kenny Walker, definitely want that. Okay. Oh, Tim Sauce is here. Kadarius Toney or Khalil Herbert? Yeah, we're going Khalil Herbert here. It's pretty easy because Khalil Herbert projects to be the running back one on offense for the Chicago Bears. Kadarius Toney might get 15% of snaps. I mean, look at the snap shares. This is what's wild. Is like I posted the video on my YouTube channel, Best Bell YouTube channel, a couple hours ago saying don't start Kadarius Toney. And someone in the comments came to me and said, "Hey, what are you talking about? What do you know about starting sitting players? Blah, blah, blah. And what do you know about Kadarius Toney's snap share?" And I said, look at his game log since he joined the Chiefs. Okay, week 9, played 6% of snaps. Week 10, 43. Week 11, 23. Week 15, 7. Week 16, 29. Week 17, 34. No, it's not going to be Kadarius Toney. Okay, it's going to be Khalil Herbert. So let's not get carried away here. It's Khalil Herbert, even in full PPR. Like Herbert's floor may very well be Kadarius Toney's ceiling for this game. So I'm not in on Kadarius Toney, and that ties into Hype Beans' question: should I start Kadarius Toney or DeAndre Swift? You're starting DeAndre Swift in when it's between those two. Okay. Okay. Would you put in Toney? Probably not. Skyy Moore or Mike Williams? We're going with Big Mike here. Yeah. Nobody says you look different tonight, Jack. I'm not Jack. Y'all, I'm Bradley. You can check me out on Twitter at FF Stalder. Okay. And I'm excited to be kicking off these player profiler tailgates on Thursdays before the game. So there we go. I love it. All right. Let's see here. What other questions do we got in the chat? Keep them coming. Y'all have done a great job putting some questions in the chat. Khalif Raymond or Josh Reynolds? Wow, that is a deep cut. Woo. Look, I think you go with Khalif Raymond. Raymond is the big play type of player, higher ADOT player, bigger boom player. Josh Reynolds will get you like 3 catches for 40 yards or whatever. So I'm not in on Khalif Raymond or Josh Reynolds, really. If you can pivot elsewhere, it must be a really deep league. But if you need to pick between the two, it's Khalif Raymond. And nobody says, no, agree, is a free look tonight, though. Pick up, then drop before Sunday if he doesn't perform. I mean, if your league allows for that. If your league allows for that, sure. But some of them don't. So keep that in. Brain D3 ad kid going all in on Toney. Who is with me? Well, I'm not with you. Sorry, man. Not a woman. I don't know. Kid. I'm not going in on Toney. There's just not this snap share that is indicative of what we want to see, right? Toney was able to get 19 fantasy points in the week where he played 43% of snaps, but he did not eclipse 34% of snaps in any other game with Kansas City Chiefs that season. And yes, he's dealing with injuries. He's working his way back. And guess what? Today, he's working his way back. He missed the entire preseason due to a knee scope. So that's the problem. He is a player that we can consider putting in after he's put in a couple weeks of high upside plays. But yeah, no, I am not in on Kadarius Toney this week. Okay. Yeah, Toney hasn't learned this complex offense yet. He might rise later, but not tonight. Imagine not getting the snaps with Patrick Mahomes. Like, will there be a couple scripted plays for Kadarius Toney? Yeah, like he'll probably get 2 or 3, maybe 4 touches like in this game, maybe a jet sweep, maybe a direct handoff. Who knows? Like like one of the shovel passes from Mahomes. Who knows? But that's what I'm thinking is that there's going to be a limited exposure to Kadarius Toney. With Travis Kelce out, you're probably going to see a very even spread between all of the wide receivers, Skyy Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, Justin Ross, and Kadarius Toney. So Richie James might even sprinkle in there too on special teams, plus a little bit of work out of the slot. Okay, Skyy Moore or Pacheco, 1 point PPR. Yeah, let's go with Skyy Moore in the PPR setting. I think it'll be pretty close, but I think I'll go Skyy Moore given that McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are expected to play in this game. Yeah, give me those players. We're having a good time. We're having a good time. Pacheco over Skyy if you want a sage floor. I mean, yeah, you're probably going to get a pretty decent floor. You're guaranteed 8 points, but I think Skyy Moore offers more of the achievable upside that we're looking for, okay? What about David Montgomery versus Podfather's favorite Rachaad White? Yeah, we're going David Montgomery. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna go David Montgomery for the reasons I mentioned earlier. The offensive line is really good. This is a you probably won't find a bigger mismatch this week than the offensive line for the Detroit Lions and the defensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be clearly the Lions wanting to make a statement running the ball with both David Montgomery, probably about 55-60% of the time, Jahmyr Gibbs running the ball about 35% of the time. And in half PPR, I think David Montgomery has better chance of scoring a touchdown this week as well, given the high upside, the high game total. Looking at what Rachaad White, like the over under for the Buccaneers Vikings game is 45.5, right? That's 7.5 fewer points. That's more than a full touchdown less projected score between the two teams. And the Vikings are 5.5 point favorites in this game as well. So not only is it a lower scoring game, but there's a larger differential. So I think it has to go David Montgomery's way, given the projection for the goal line work. Khalif Raymond or Justin Watson in best ball. Give me Khalif Raymond. I don't know how much Justin Watson sees the field. Okay. Let's see, Skyy Moore or Pacheco. I said we're going Skyy Moore in PPR, full PPR. Skyy Moore, Deion Jackson. We're going to go Skyy Moore as well here. And as y'all note in the comments, I'm prioritizing your start sits with players who are in your Thursday night lineup. So either the Chiefs or Lions are questions that I'm going to be prioritizing. So cheers, everyone. If you've been enjoying this content, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. It's going to be really helpful. All right, we'll give you a second to put some more questions in the chat. All right, cool. Well, thanks for adding all those. Should I replace Godwin or Amari with Skyy Moore? I wouldn't quite yet. That's too risky for Skyy Moore at this point. Like Skyy Moore at 20-something% target rate, but Godwin or Amari Cooper just simply offer a higher floor and higher ceiling that we have seen proven at this point. A lot of the Skyy Moore love is projection and how this distribution is going to happen. It's probably going to be a pretty even distribution. Maybe Skyy does lead the team in targets, but it would not surprise me if, a Richie James or Rashee Rice or Marquez Valdes-Scantling like somehow leads the team in targets with 5 or 6, right? It's just, we do like that Skyy Moore commanded some level of targets when he was on the field last year. 22% target rate's not nothing, but he only had 3 or 4 games where he was 6 or 7 targets. That's not going to get it done in like an upside realm. Sure, could Godwin bust? Could Amari Cooper bust? Yeah, but Skyy Moore, I think, has bigger bust potential compared to those other 2 players. Scott says McKinnon is the galaxy brain benefited of any Kelce prolonged absence. It's possible. We have seen in the past tight ends leave teams, long term, and the beneficiary is usually the running back because of the players who know the system. They know how to catch the ball in the backfield. The quarterback trusts them close to the line of scrimmage, and there's not as much knowledge of the tight end position by the backup, right? They just don't know as many routes. They just aren't as trusted by the quarterback. And instead, a player like Jerick McKinnon, who we've seen hit top 10 weeks, with the involvement in the passing game over the last couple of years, it's clear that McKinnon is a trusted option in this Kansas City Chiefs offense by Patrick Mahomes. Okay. Let's see here. Eric is asking, need advice for my RB2 and flex. 3 players are Cam Akers, Dobbins, and Skyy Moore. I think you're going Dobbins and Cam Akers still, even in full PPR, right? With Cooper Kupp out, you think that the Rams offense is going to lean pretty heavily on Cam Akers, and J.K. Dobbins is a darling for me. So I want to be higher than consensus on J.K. Dobbins. Skyy Moore, as I said, there's a lot of risk. Skyy Moore or Jahan Dotson. We're going Jahan Dotson. Okay, very good. Kadarius Toney or Samaje Perine. Yeah, you might be feeling a little desperate, but I'd still go Samaje Perine. Probably has a higher floor than Kadarius Toney. So I think that I'm going to go that way, Philip. All right, cool. Sweet. This has been a lot of fun, y'all. I'm going to be on here for a couple more minutes, but we've hit on a lot of players. You've got to make sure Amon-Ra St. Brown is ready, set to go. I would consider starting Jared Goff, if you need to stream a quarterback. I think this is a perfect streaming situation. High over under. Lions playing from behind with a good offensive line. Amon-Ra St. Brown is available. Jahmyr Gibbs is available. David Montgomery is available. Sam Laporta is available. This is going to be great. I'm really excited for all of this. Cool. So yeah, look, this has been a lot of fun. Just drinking, chatting, talking start sits with you. I mean, how awesome is it that we get to talk about content over the course of 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and then finally, this is the day. This is the day that we've been waiting for. This is the day that we've been planning for and prepping for and looking for, and now all of it's come to fruition. All of our predictions and our thoughts, and accepting that we were wrong about a particular player in the offseason. That's certainly something that we are experiencing right now. But at the same time, it's a lot of fun seeing predictions come right and calling your sleepers and calling your shots. And so I'm very excited for all of us to get launched here. Make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. Appreciate you supporting the channel. I'm going to be doing this every Thursday from now until the last Thursday or so of the season. And then, we'll talk start sits. We'll talk Thursday night. We'll drink some beer or whatever you want to drink at the tailgate. If you want to bring your LaCroix, okay, don't bring LaCroix, but whatever. Football is back, everyone. Such a fun time. And until next time, everyone. A couple things. One, make sure you check out Bettle. We're going to have an ad read here in a second, but I also want you to check out the new podcasts that are coming up. Okay. Make sure you're checking out The Juice and The Big Tilt. So be looking for The Juice and The Big Tilt in the Player Profiler feeds on YouTube and on the podcast format. They're going to be great podcasts. You want to be listening to those. Make sure you're subscribing, checking them out. And until next Thursday, everyone, good luck with Thursday Night Football.
Oh, I see it every day online, every single day. Hey, that looks like a great fantasy team in an 8-team league. Oh, wish I could be in a league with you, right? Well, guess what? Now you can respond with, sure, let's play on Bettle. That's the beauty of this platform. This new Bettle platform standardizes all position scoring. So you just load your team and you challenge your friend, your colleague, Twitter troll, and you can browse other teams and issue challenges. Bettle is revolutionizing fantasy football. And with code UNDERWORLD, you get a $100 instant deposit match plus a free $10. So even if you deposit $20, you get $50. Think about that. So go to Bettle.com. The code is UNDERWORLD. Bettle.com. The code is UNDERWORLD. Or click a link in the description. It's fun to be right. Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.